Before you figure out where you're going, you gotta look back at where you've been. And you gotta look real close, cause you'll miss this shit. Forget details. There's things that happen that seem like they didn't mean nothing at the time, but then you realize they mean everything. That's why you gotta look back, because now that you see where you at, you gotta understand how the fuck you got there. This cryptic quote jumpstarts the season 4 premiere of Raising Kanan to a very familiar backdrop that forces us to relive the explosive final moments of the season 3 finale that saw Howard killed by Rock, Ronnie killed by Kanan, and Unique a not-so-distant observer to these chaotic events. Grown Kanan's words here aren't just significant to the saga at hand, but justify the need for his prequel story to be told altogether. As he states, before you figure out where you're going, you gotta look back to where you've been. A character as twisted and complex as Kanan demanded a contextual origin point in order to truly understand the tragic nature of his character via his upbringing. The quote is also accompanied by a 3 months earlier disclaimer and sets up the episode as an epilogue of sorts to season 3 and a prologue to season 4. Again, context is key to understanding the story elements and character motivations, and episode 1 serves as a bridge to the viewer for how Unique survived, his mindset during recovery, and ultimately, his decision to move against his old enemy turned lover and now enemy again, Rock Thomas. I'm here to break it all down in typical top 10 WTF fashion. Before we begin, I was recently part of a live stream on the Raising Kanan premiere, courtesy of My Sweet Perspective and Struggle Reviews TV, so definitely check that out, and much respect to those ladies for having me on. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and bell notification to immediately receive these videos. Also, big thank you to all of my Patreon family. If you'd like to be the next one, subscribe to the link pinned to the comment section below. And lastly, a spoiler alert is now in effect for all things Power. Here we go. WTF moment number 10, Niekenstein. Following Grown Kanan's soliloquy, we're given a flashback sequence explaining just how Unique survived Ronnie's vicious attack. The flashback serves not just to explain Unique's predicament, but offer us further insight into the events that will shape his perspective and character motivations this season. Here, Nick fights for his fleeting life in order to make one last call to Early Tyler to rescue him from certain doom. Ironically, Early was mentioned by Ronnie in name last season, though we never saw him before this point. Nevertheless, he swoops in to pick up what remains of the old Unique, but not without dollar signs in his eyes for his emergency services, of course. WTF moment number 9, pregnancy unintended. Perhaps the most shocking story development of the premiere was Rock's discovery that she was indeed pregnant by none other than Unique, something we'd all figured given the rounds they vigorously enjoyed last season. Though seemingly unimportant to the current storyline, now that Unique has descended into pending madness, this simmering arc will undoubtedly rear its head again, and may even possibly be Rock's saving grace under fire. Currently, this piece of information is only something that Rock and Jukebox know, but that'll surely change once Nick officially begins his Thomas family onslaught. WTF moment number 8, a deal with the devil. Marvin is contacted by Stefano to carry out a special job for him in the interest of respect. He hires our favorite Thomas family member to correct the indiscretions of his son-in-law against his daughter Paulette, who's being disrespected openly by her husband Tommaso's public infidelities. Stefano asks Marvin for his discretion in the matter, not bringing Rock in on the endeavor for any reason. This emboldens Marvin's position among the most important Italian left, while simultaneously jeopardizing his life once again. Remember, Marvin's last Italian job ended in the death of the Jersey outfit's succeeding son, a blood-filled war on Southside Jamaica, Queens, and the death of Sal Baselli, which ultimately pointed the feds in the hood's direction due to the growing Italian presence. Prayers up for Marvin though. The second time around is always the most dangerous. WTF moment number 7, American History Kanan. Kanan is called into the office of Dr. West, who stresses that Kay finishes a paper on his grandparents assigned by one of his teachers in order to pass. Though initially apprehensive about completing the assignment, with his future hanging in the balance, Kanan approaches Howard, Marvin, Lou, and most notably Mama Joyce in order to complete the work. Kanan makes strides in contextualizing the struggles of his family, hidden aspects formerly unknown, and most importantly, how it all relates to his current story. WTF moment number 6, pro-choice. After discovering her pregnant status, Rock decides to go through with determination, considering the death of the father, Unique, and her own plans for re-entry into the drug game. While in the doctor's office, Rock drops a disturbing piece of information about a prior abortion she had off the books, adding to the tragic nature of the environment in which she came up in, and the evils that made her into the savage she is in present day. WTF moment number 5, Rocky revelation. Following the completion of his recon mission at Neek's behest, early Tyler returns with some inconvenient developments, including Rock's newfound position in Neek's old territory, her supplier, and Ronnie and Kanan's alliance. None the wiser on how these events truly unfolded, Neek jumps to some deadly conclusions and places Rock and Kanan in the line of fire along with his brother. Neek then requests Early's gun, affirming his forthcoming revenge. Interestingly enough about this scene, he's also watching a show entitled Rock, which ran in the early 90s, and in the show, the theme of revenge and get back are heavily apparent. So he's watching a show about revenge while contemplating his own version of revenge at the same time. Just a brilliant nod, if not on the nose. WTF moment number 4, the right exit. After scoping out his prey, Marvin officially carries out Stefano's orders to the T. He catches the latter's son-in-law after a hockey game and commences in the greatest pastime of that very sport, punch-drunk violence. In the midst of wailing on the helpless soul, Marv holds the ice skate blade to his neck to further drive home that he's not playing around. And infidelity against Carcetti's daughter won't be further tolerated. We later learn that Tommaso booked a cruise for himself and Stefano's daughter Paulette in the aftermath of the regulation. WTF moment number 3, Jess with the mess. Lou, still stuck in the spirit of self-deprecation, gets a surprise visit from an old friend, lover, and flame in the form of Jess. Having been long gone since her illicit affair turned California job opportunity from Crown, Jess returns showering praise and admiration over Lou's shell. She claims her impromptu presence is due to label meetings and that her family isn't even aware that she's home yet. Then, upon departing a less than thrilled Lou, she stresses the importance of self-forgiveness for his past sins, something that's clearly still hindering Lou's progress up to this point. Remember, this is a flashback, so Lou would have still been bound by alcoholism, depression, and despair. Jess's purpose in this scene, therefore, is to alleviate him of that guilt in hopes of saving his life, something that later culminated in his rehab stint. WTF moment number 2, F cancer. Mama Joyce contacts Kanan and reveals to her favorite grandson that she has kidney cancer. Worse yet, she begs him to keep this terminal reality away from his 2 uncles and especially his mother. Now, Joyce has been irredeemable for the most part of her tenure in the series, her negative and selfish ways being highlighted above all else. However, in the case of Kanan, she's demonstrated a softness and care that supersedes even that of his own mother, resulting in a special bond between the 2 of them. We'll learn more of her character as the season unfolds, and she just may be the cause of Rock's emotional display from the trailers and promos once she finally succumbs to her illness. Although a much resented character in the opera of Rock's existence, she's still her mother, and that truth transcends her misdeeds. And WTF moment number 1, One Lucky Lou. Near the final moments of this flashback episode, Lulu nearly meets a bullet-riddled fate by Unique's gun, who's officially made up his mind on how to maneuver against Rock and her family. Lurking in the shadows, awaiting Lou to leave the club, he almost captures his prey. However, the Power God's plan proved larger than Unique's wrath, in the form of Shirley's intervention. Ironically, Lou at this current moment in his story would have welcomed certain death, as he intended to drive drunkenly into a tree, but Lou was spared to thug it out another week, and that's something we should all be thankful for. It's too early to be killing brothers just yet, but that reality may shift sooner than we know. Some interesting thoughts before we end today's video. The episode's title, Gangsters Don't Die, isn't merely an obvious ode to Unique's resurrection arc, but also speaks to the undying spirit of gangsterism itself, and how it has permeated within the hearts of our characters. Throughout the flashback scenes, each character gains an opportunity to express the origin points of their respective gangster spirits, such as Marvin being forced to take the brunt of the responsibility for his family in the absence of his father, or Rock's unreported abortion. Trauma is the tie that binds these narratives and places our characters on their inevitably destructive paths. The choice to write this episode in a prequel format from another perspective, providing new elements along the way, was reminiscent of the final 5 epilogue offerings in OG Power. Those episodes gave us a chance to see the same finale from 5 different perspectives, granting something new based on who experienced the interactions every time. Here, though not partial to any one character, the focus was placed on Unique and the events surrounding his clandestine resurgence. The only famous sighting we've received thus far during the Season 4 cycle is near the beginning of this flashback episode. To this point, he's been in no trailers, promos, or first look images. Once the storyline catches up to the current day, where will he possibly be? Will we see him at all this season, or has the sins of his past caused him to move in an evasive fashion? I guess we shall see. Although we know Lulu to be fully rehabilitated currently, his flashback arc still finds him under mental duress, spiritual discomfort, and on the brink of ending it all. He alludes to as much when discussing his father with Kanan, confirming that he understood why he did what he did. Death's gotta be easy, cause life is hard. Lou's marriage to the bottle represented a daily assault on his own life due to what he believed to be his unforgivable sins in the hustle game. Here, Lou was still being handcuffed by that demon. He was subtly saying goodbye to everyone he came across, which justified Jessica's surprising return to a degree. The sadness was written all over his face, yet she encouraged him to forgive himself, sensing that his heart was still heavy from his previous criminally driven activities. Unique makes an interesting statement upon learning from Early that Rock has taken over the streets again. After erroneously surmising that Rock, Ronnie, and Kanan are all conspiring against him, he accused Rock of turning on every man she's ever been with, from DEF CON to High Post. This is a sentiment that Pernissa alluded to while holding Rock at gunpoint last season, specifically the High Post betrayal point. The question is this: is Rock really as treacherous as she's been portrayed, or is Unique an unreliable narrator driven by paranoia at this point and jumping to conclusions on the past just like he's doing in the present? It's going to be crazy when all is revealed. And finally, while we're on Unique, I wonder what made him believe that Rock needed to step off his blocks even before learning about her takeover in his absence from Early Tyler. Remember, when Early lays Unique down, the latter begins rambling contradictions to himself. Tell Rock to step off my blocks, but tell her I love her though. I believe this is meant to depict the fractured position of his mind, a dichotomous splintering that'll only deepen as the season and Neek's misunderstandings continue on. But that will do it for this one. What were your thoughts on the Raising Kanan Season 4 premiere? Be sure to drop me your opinions in the comments below. As always, I thank you for watching today's video. If you liked today's video, go ahead and drop $1 on that Cash App for us, hit the like button, share it with your friends who are Power fans, and subscribe for more content such as this. This is Rudy P. Magic of Rudy P. Magic Beats, and have a blessed one until the next one. Peace, y'all.